Nice job. Very, very, very nice job. Also, a really wonderful sound. There were like these. One of the things I'd like to talk to you about is sort of what we're focused on in the first one is getting more of a complete musical idea. There were times where it's like you were being more musical than the others, and I really loved that. You had some great musical ideas, and it was really a joy to listen to those. I'd love more of those musical ideas at all times, right? Another thing I'd like to talk to you about is the articulation. Getting a little bit more clarity to it in this kind of a piece, bringing a little more point to the front. I think you're using a fine articulation, but it's an idea that I have that's like, just as a painter has an array of paintbrushes for either points on the page or brushes on the page, we want to have an array of paintbrushes for our playing as well so that we can make those choices. And here, I think we need more of a pointed approach to the front of the note rather than a broad approach, right? And then finally, along the lines of the question over here, I think we can talk a little bit about relaxation. So let's start with that one, okay? We'll get a lot more done when we're relaxed than when we're tense. Were you nervous? Yeah. Yeah. How many of us get nervous when we have to play for others? Yeah, you're not alone. Yeah. All right. I heard this really great bit of advice from Professor Natalie Mannix, who just retired from University of North Texas. She's a good friend of mine. She was in the Navy band right before I got in, and our paths just seem to keep crossing. And she's just an absolute genius pedagogue within the musical trombone field. Her advice was, I talked to her, this might have even just been 5 years ago. It's like, how do you approach nerves when performing? And she was like, do you get really nervous? And she started asking me questions. Do you get really nervous when you're performing? I'm like, yeah, I kind of do. And I had an ITF performance coming up after that. I was like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty nervous about it right now. And she's like, okay, well, what are your fears? Immediately noticing the link between nerves and fear, right? Because excitement is what we feel when we think good things are coming. Nerves are what we feel when we think bad things are coming, right? And so she's like, all right, well, what are your fears associated? It's like, well, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to get there, and I don't want to, like totally screw up the high note or like completely just have my sound fall apart on stage. She's like, those are very you things, aren't they? I was like, well, yeah. And she's like, is that what music is about to you? And it was like kind of this whoa moment. It's like, no, that's not what it's supposed to be. What is music? What is performance supposed to be about?
I just think sharing the music.
Sharing the music. Great way of putting it. We're sharing an experience. We're using music as a medium to have a conversation with each other. It's a language, right? And in that sense, what I'm really trying to do whenever I get up here and perform is, these people have probably heard this piece before, but maybe it's something that you're coming up and you're like, I find these things cool about it, and I'd like to share that with you. Do you think you can still get the message across if you chip a note or miss a note? Yeah. Do you think you can still get the message across if you chip more than one or two notes? Maybe more than a couple? I think so. So when I think about it like that it's not about me, it's about the music and sharing what I think is cool about it, then suddenly the fear of making a mistake goes away, and you're left with the question of, yeah, what am I nervous about? If I don't care about chipping a note anymore, because that's not the point, perfection is not the goal. Right? It's just like having a conversation. Like, I'm not worried about if I stumble over my speech or I mispronounce a word. You'll still get the idea of what I'm saying. It's the same thing with performing. And when you truly buy into that, it takes nerves away, right? And you can really get into the piece. And you can really say, like, no, these are the things that are really cool. I think you're gonna love it whenever I get to this moment in the phrase, whenever I really sell it. And then I come away, it's so cool the way it's written and the way that I've decided to interpret it. It's more just about sharing musical ideas. So try adjusting, and if anyone out there is also dealing with performance anxiety, consider it was like an ego thing to be nervous about making mistakes. If I was nervous because I wanted it to be perfect, well, that's me. Nobody wants to enjoy a performance that's about the person. They want to enjoy that musical connection. And that's not about me, that's not about you, it's about this shared space and the shared event. Okay, so just consider that. The next thing, articulation. All right, let's talk briefly about that. So I realized for a really long time in my career, I was trying to perfect what I was like thinking of as like a trombone articulation, right? I was trying to craft this idea of like, this is what I do with the tongue, this is what I do with the air, and I was putting all these details together of what my teachers have taught me over the years, and I got pretty good at it. It was pretty consistent, but it was never exactly what I wanted. It didn't always do what I wanted to in different dynamics and different registers. And so eventually I decided it's like, well, I'm tired of chasing this golden goose. So let me just, it doesn't feel natural. It feels manufactured. How can I make my approach to articulating as simple as possible, as simple as, like the way you don't think about it whenever you take a step. Like if I need to go over there and grab my water bottle, I'm gonna go grab my water bottle, and I'm not thinking about each step that I'm taking. And I want my trombone playing to be this natural, this subconscious, so that my full brain can be focused on the music in the moment. So I thought, all right, what do I already have that I can use? And so I watched this masterclass about studying linguistics, right? About how we already have a lot of the information we need for our tongue in our subconscious, built in since we were kids and we were learning how to talk. You already have learned a fantastic trombone articulation that you can use. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? Everybody say this with me. Say the word table. Ready? Okay, you beat me to it. All right, let's say it again. Ready? Set, table. That's a lot of great trombone articulations out there, right? You don't need to think about what you're doing with the tongue. You don't need to think about it's like, well, I want it to recoil. I want it to sit here. I want it to press this hard. I want it to hit this target point. Table. It's already there, right? So I created this exercise to help me then transfer that information to the instrument. Whoops. All right. Let's see if I can plug that back on there. All right. I'm going to take nope. Is that on? Okay. I'm going to take a little bit longer with this. Okay. So I created this exercise to help me then transfer that information to the instrument. So what I want to do is I want to be a passive observer in my speech. Table, 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 table. Great, all right. That's just kind of feeling, what does it feel like to create that clean, clear T at the front, followed by air, followed by sound. Table, table. All right, now, can I plug that feeling in on the trombone? Table. 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 How can I then take that to like legato? Well, same thing. I don't want to try and manufacture where I'm putting the tongue. So everybody say dog with me. Dog. All right? Now say puddle. Puddle. Two very different tongue placements for the letter D in those words. Say dog again and listen how strong the letter D is in that word. Dog. Now say puddle. Puddle. Notice how the tongue just kind of flicks the top of the mouth, right? Puddle. Da 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 puddle. Two very different legatos that I can recreate just using information I already have. I don't need to get better at articulations. I just need to think about them differently. So can we try this a little bit? Can we try? Let's just take one. Can we start right here, please? And just start on a C with me and go table. There you go. Good. Move it to a D natural. Or sorry, a D flat. Ready? And. All right. Here's how we're going to adjust it. Right? Let's pretend that you're telling someone to like get your butt to the table. Right? Get to the table. Right? Now say table like that. Table. No, you're going table. Table. I don't think you're really that mad. I'm going to stay over here and keep reading my book. Tell me to get to the table. Come on.
Get to the table.
Table. Come on. Hit the T.
Table.
All right. Give me that articulation. All right. I'm going. Give me that articulation on a D flat, please. Good. Now, we're still upset about table, but we're going to be like, it's almost like you're past upset, and you're just going to whisper like, get your butt to the table. Now. So we get intensity at the front of the word, but now we're bringing the dynamic back. D flat, please. Great. Now, using that same feeling, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun, to table, go. Good. All right. Use this to work on your articulations and improve them. All right. I think that's all we've got time for. Bravo. Congratulations.